AccessTV.org, grassroots social media television.
AccessTV.org. Your family, your friends, we are where you are.
Welcome to Education One. We have a great man today. I call him the Wizard of Hartford within the Wall Street world. His name is Paul Wilusz. He's a friend of mine, and guess what? He's going to be actually the big guru on Wall Street teaching kids in the Four Walls Project. Welcome, Mr. How
Pleasure.
you doing?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the show.
I wanted you to come on specifically today to talk about who you are and how you fit into the Four Walls Project of Manchester.
Well, again, thank you for having me on the show. When you first explained to me and talked to me about this project, it was quite intriguing. Mm-hmm. And the interesting part of it was the fact that that I do have something to really contribute. Mm-hmm. I've been teaching now for over 8 years, mm-hmm.
Teaching adults
in the medical billing and coding arena. But prior to that, I also taught within the life insurance, teaching people to get their producer's license, etc. Mm-hmm. And also doing financial literacy. So I'm quite familiar with that. So when you asked me to become involved and to really add and become a leader in that component of financial literacy, I was glad to take on the challenge. Financial literacy is important in this community, in the world, in order for everyone to really partake and really become involved in with their community. The types of curriculum that are out there, it's been amazing what the banking and the financial industry did, but it took an act of Congress to really make that become a reality. Up to that point, the financial institutions were really not involved because they did not see the financial gain of the poor community, quote unquote.
You know, I'm gonna stop you right there. When we first started in MC Square, it took me 4 years to develop the whole concept, and we started in 2001 in the north end of Hartford with the new Temple of God. And what made me go into financial literacy at that time is that when I was at Howard and Morgan State University, there was a white professor that actually taught political theory, but I asked him, how do you really make money? He says, on Wall Street. So we actually did a class when I was back in college to show exactly how to track a stock. 30 days, 60 days, 90 moving average.
Exactly.
So when I came back and he says, one day you're gonna use this. So even though I've been investing in 401k plans and doing in the futures market and stuff like that, I said, let me teach the kids starting in early 2000. Nobody wasn't doing it.
Correct.
And every time we look at minority, and minorities, quote unquote, is Black, Hispanic, American Indian, they say they don't know nothing about money. Mm-hmm. Basically, most of the inner cities is centered around minority people which spend money, but they don't invest it and they don't save.
Correct.
So what we end up doing from 2001 all the way up to 2011 to teach kids throughout the years how money really works. So when Pastor Nair died in actually August of 2011, I said, let me rescope this a little bit more deeper. Even though I don't have the license in it and I taught it with other people, I need somebody like yourself to really look at it with a fine-tooth comb. And that's how we got to where we are right now with the Four Walls Project.
Yeah, I think that it's still very necessary. Mm-hmm. the educational system still needs to be more adaptive of getting financial literacy out there for within the communities itself. What I find very interesting is that we have two different worlds. The FDIC, when they came out with their curriculum, is a good curriculum.
Right.
But it really just focuses in
banking.
on the regular type banking,
Right.
which was almost like about 40 years
Okay.
old as far as what it is today.
Right.
Today you have people doing online banking, but yet you see people out there who don't use a checkbook, don't know what a savings account is, even though that they should know about savings, but there's
Right.
not much inside the savings account anyways.
Right.
To really deal with. But the how would you say it?
The balance.
Not the balance, but the distance between online banking and traditional type banking understanding
Right.
is vast.
Right.
So yes, we have certain curriculums that are out there, but again, those are almost being outdated for what's being done within the banking world today.
Right.
So just having people become aware of a checkbook, how that works with, that's well and good, but they have to get into the up to speed
Right.
inside online banking, inside the computer industry and world.
It's funny because when I first started out looking at stocks and bonds, we had the New York, American, and NASDAQ.
Yes.
About 15 years later, we have the New York Stock Exchange. Amex is gone, and we basically have, over-the-counter stuff. So you still look at a newspaper as Amex, but it's really invisible. So you look at the Russell 2000s and stuff like that. Then you have now looking at the currency side. Now you look at Europe, it's not broken down in yens and stuff like that, it's broken down in euro.
Yes.
So now the Germans was actually flush with cash. They're getting killed because how the influx of the euro dollar is now.
Yes.
So now you look at the way the world is right now, the world is not a wide world anymore. It's a very small world. It's like you walk across the street and you're another. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
And again, I think you hit it earlier in our discussion here
Right.
about the fact that within all communities,
Right.
the need to save money,
Right.
the need to invest money, okay, so that money is working for you.
Exactly.
Okay, that still is a far-fetched concept.
Yeah.
People don't understand that, and again, as I was talking about the distance that's happening inside the economics is becoming much wider,
Right.
and somehow we have to bring that gap before it really gets out of hand. But again, it's just really just understanding for people to understand how to invest.
Right.
I just happened to be with a bunch of with some gentlemen up in Springfield, a Mocha group, and just to understand and hear the dynamics of talking with men who had absolutely no idea of how to really invest their money and how that money is going to work for them. So it has to start in the early years. We really have to start really focusing in on students of that age so that they can become more aware of and become participants inside having money to work for them.
The kids come to me and over the years and say, well, Mr. Sam, how you make money? I says, well, if you want me to do a business plan or some sort of financial literacy mock-up or just to scope something, write up something, I'm going to charge you. So they come back and says, well, how much is worth your time? He says, well, if you have no experience, you start off from this amount to this amount. Over 5 years' time, when you become a professional, even though you may not have the certs or the degree, you know exactly what you're doing. You could charge this amount, this amount.
Right.
But what society plays a part in, you have to have the certs and the degrees. Back in the old days, when your mother and father and my mother and father was growing up, it was nothing like that. They just knew how to fix a car. They knew how to do this and do that, and they knew exactly what the going rate was. So
Right.
you look at that 100 years ago, if you was making $100,000, that's $1 million.
Right.
If you make it $100,000 now, you take about $23,000 off the top. That's about $80-something thousand, but that's still good money.
Right. Right.
But if you know how to take a dollar and stretch the dollar and say, when you get to age 60 or 62, and I've been putting a dollar in every day,
Yes.
and you were invested into, say, a Roth IRA,
Yeah.
or you put something in, say, a CD that is out in somewhere in Illinois, whatever, at 7 to 7.5%, and you do it
Right.
over 10 years,
Right.
you're making money.
You're making money.
And that's
Exactly.
and that's bare bones investment.
Right.
So if we can show minority kids that, hey, you got a stop and shop job and you're making $200 a week, you put $25 away.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
by the time you get to the age of 40 and something happens, guess what? You got a pot in a window.
Exactly. And what's interesting is what you said about years ago.
Right.
About our parents. They were not great investors,
No.
but they were good savers.
Thank you.
And the only thing that they knew
It's the same.
was that bank, that local bank,
Right.
savings and loan,
Right.
where they would put their money in.
Right.
And in that savings account, it was at 6% interest.
Right.
Okay. Kids growing up today, going into a bank, and you're looking at a savings account at 0.01%. Now there's a problem.
There's a problem.
There is a problem. Where are they going to look when someone says, well, invest your money? Where? Where am I going to invest that money? Do I put it into a money market? Do I put it into a CD?
Right.
Even those two areas, the interest rate is extremely low, to none. Okay.
Right.
So then as you're trying to tell them, and they're trying to look at you, how am I supposed to save money?
Right.
Now you have to start talking about a finance house.
Right.
You know, and again, foreign language to where they are, to what their understanding is, they have to really become aware of that, because they're going to get caught, and it's going to be at a level where it's going to be hard for them to really get involved if they really fail to understand that.
What I'm looking out of this program, and I'm gonna call you, I'm always gonna call you the Wizard of Wall Street. And I know that you could have been labeled other names, but the biggest thing I'm looking at of it is how within 1 year's time, when we assess and evaluate this, is that how the kids, I want the kids to come back and tell us where to put our money. Actually at a layman's term.
Yes.
That they could understand.
Right.
That 10 years ago or 20 years ago, the banks was at 5.5%, 6%.
Right.
How everything turned back around. So what you got to do, since everything is actually flipped the opposite way, you got to learn how now to turn everything back the other way. It says, okay, even though it's paying 1 or 2% or whatever, and these guys are making money because of the banking crisis in 07, 08.
Right.
That was really a crisis.
Right.
That was basically greed from other people.
Right. And it was greed more so from the fact of, I don't think people totally understood
Exactly.
what was really going on.
Right.
You know, when you're really looking at our kids in the cities,
Right.
of really what was going on? Who were they talking about? Lehman Brothers,
Right.
Goldman Sachs.
Sachs, right.
Who are these people?
Right.
All of that is foreign. They have absolutely no idea.
And I told everyone, even people I knew, I said, this is 60 years in the Depression. Buy the companies now. They will never be like this again.
Right.
50 cents in a dollar.
Right.
Some people listened to me. Some people didn't. Why? Lack of knowledge.
Right.
And that's all it was.
Exactly. So now I think what's good about this program is going to be that, yes, they will come out with a good understanding of where and how to make that money work for them. Instead of just saying like, okay, well, here's my dollars and cents. I can see this. I can't see it 20 years from now. I need to see it now. And to make them aware of that, yes, over time, you're going to make the money. One of the things that I found very interesting in my discussion with the group, one of the gentlemen had said like, okay, we got to make sure that if we have whatever entity we have, whether it's an investment club or whatever that we have that we put together, that we got to keep the money in there.
Okay, right.
So it's, in other words, well, okay, let me keep it in there for about 3 months and then let me take the money out. Well, you're not going to make anything at that point.
Exactly.
You know, so you have to keep it in there for like at least a year.
Right.
If you make a couple $100, okay, fine, then I want to take my money out. But you got to understand, these other people who have been playing finance for years,
Right.
they know this game.
Right.
Okay, they know it inside and out. As a matter of fact, they've had over 200 years of knowing what it is. And our understanding of trying to deal with finances is much shorter and much limited. Okay, we have to get expansion on that so that people will be able to come away with saying like, okay, now I can be a Rockefeller. Now I can be a Donald Trump.
Right.
Or anything else along this line.
I'm going to stop you on that note. We have some bills to pay.
Sure.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back on the second half of actually from the Wizard of Hartford. His name is Paul Wilusz, and believe me, this man is brilliant. He knows numbers, he knows finance. We'll be right back. Thank you.
At Hartford Public Schools, we care about one thing above all, the future of our kids. That's why we're dedicated to providing all students with the knowledge and skills needed in the new global culture. Hartford Public Schools is thriving. More student success stories, more world-class facilities, more university and corporate partnerships, more amazing talent coming and staying in Hartford. This is how education is supposed to work. Welcome to Hartford Public Schools, where the future is present.
Welcome back to Education One. We're talking to the Wizard of actually Hartford, Paul Wilusz. He's the financial guru, and he's actually going to be head of the Four Walls Project financial literacy piece. And believe me, this guy has a 1,000,000-watt bulb. Coming back to what we talked about just briefly here.
Sure.
How would you actually scope the kids coming in to the Four Walls Project in our after-school program? What was the first things you think you would do?
Well, I think it would really be becoming aware of like where are they at this point. Really give a quick synopsis of what they understand of what financial literacy is. Some may already have. Some may have to start from the very beginning. But once we've identified where we're at, then we can start exposing and going into the different directions of really what is involved with financial literacy.
Right.
And then where can they start looking to really develop themselves and how they can put it together a plan. We may have to start with dealing with a budget.
Yep.
Where again, I think a lot of people, when I've dealt with individuals, with families, with people who have been making money, and you look and you say, let me see your budget. Oh, I already have it. And I go like, where is it? Oh, it's up here. We have to take it from up here and actually put it down on paper and put that out there. So they really have to get a good understanding of how to budget their money. Once they have that, then to look to see, okay, let's start investing some money. You have your money for your expenses, you take care of that one. Now you have a little bit of some money after the side, let's start putting that aside, but it has to be there for the long term and really have that working for them.
I'm glad you said that, because when you build a business plan, there's 3 parts to a business plan. The toughest part is the second part, which is the budget.
Right.
You do a 3-year, 5-year. So if we start in the middle, the idea what they want to do become very simple because they know exactly how the numbers work.
Exactly.
Most kids Well, what I do in my house is that I look at month to 6 months to a year. So I type up 20, 23 things that we need to pay each month.
Exactly.
Then you say, okay, it costs about, say, $4,000. Out of the $4,000, what do you save? Do you save anything at all? What I do, I add another piece of saying I have a savings piece for the bank. So I need to make not $4,000, it's $4,500 now, because I want to put $500 each month in the bank.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
this is what I have. I had a rich dad, I had a poor dad.
Okay.
My poor dad is the one who worked hard, paid his bills, and saved some money. My rich dad worked hard, saved some money, but didn't invest money.
Okay.
So he said to me, when you save your money up in a bank, pull your money out of the bank and go to another bank. That's what he's talking about. He says, you get a higher interest. That's true.
Yeah.
But he says, what you can do, that depends how much money you have. He says, what I did, for example, I'm not gonna tell him how much money he did, but he had a good chunk of money. And he went to 3 different banks. He walked in and talked to the head bank guy and said, look, I want 10%. You know, bank's gonna pay 10%.
That's right.
But if you have a certain amount of money, somebody may say, okay, you can actually leverage your own percentage.
That's
Believe
right.
it. You can.
Yes.
The bank can say no, but somebody's going to say eventually how many banks you go to. So what they did, him and his brother went, and he says, at 10%. 3 months later, the rate went down, but they still got you plugged in at 10%. So you don't lose any money.
Exactly.
So the rest of the other people took a loss, but he didn't. He said when that 6 months, elapsed, the bank said, "Oh, forget about this. We're going back to the regular," because they made out some money. But I never knew that you actually can go into a bank and negotiate your own rate.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
Well, exactly. Even if you have a credit card,
Right.
you can actually call that bank every 6 months to reduce your interest rate.
Exactly.
And they will do that. What people don't understand, even today where you can actually, excuse me, where you can actually, where can I do my banking? I can go to a credit union.
Right.
What does that credit union do? You can have that relationship, and that's critical when you're trying to deal with that one. Or you could go into a regular bank. Today, what's the use of those institutions? Are they there for really saving and making you money? Not really.
No.
The only convenience is they have a checking account.
That's it.
Okay. Now, but again, what most people don't understand is that you can go into a brokerage house. Okay. You can also have a checking account with them.
Exactly.
Okay. So in looking and seeing the difference of those banking entities today, whether it's a bank, a credit union, or then going elsewhere, those have to really be discussed.
Right.
So that they know where and how they can really work their funds. And because who the heck knows what's going to be happening 5 years, even 10 years from now. Again, we've had a lot of change in the banking scene, where we've had like the interstate banking when that came out back in 1998, opened up a whole slew of things inside here. So you had much larger banks coming in, and to understand, well, how do I now? What's my role and my function with these types of banks? And that can I really sit there and have a good relationship with them, or can I go to that credit union and really have that kind of good relationship that no matter what the circumstances may be, that credit union may be there to really help them out?
All what we're talking about right now is the key to actually teaching minority kids.
Right.
Because when I first came in, they said, well, okay, Mr. Sam, if you want me to do good in school and you want me to do this, how do I make money? I said, okay. I'm going to show you how to make money from a grassroots way. So this one kid didn't have a job, so I told him to go pick up cans. It was 09, 010 when they had the recycling act go through in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Because we was actually the last to have the redemption thing.
Right.
So he said, you don't make any money. He like a bum. People, I said, no, you make money. So what happened, a group of us went out in 010. It was cold. It was like going in October. And I rented a van. I didn't have a van at the time, but I had a truck, but not, And we rented a van for 1 week, and we went to 4 different towns and collected cans and bottles. So I didn't tell anybody this. I just did it on my own. So I showed them what I did a day, what I made a week. First thing they says, well, are you sharing the money? I said, no, I work for it. I got up 2 o'clock in the morning and I was picking through garbage, right? I said, if you're embarrassed, do what I do. Get up when no one's around and sleeping, and you go through it. Yeah. You have a little stick or whatever, and boom, 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 and you go to the towns that you don't think you're going to get killed, and they leave it right out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And what they do. So we came back and filled up the van almost every night for 1 week. We went to the redemption. They gave us some money, and we called it a day. So I said, this is you have to sell no drugs, clunk nobody over the head.
Tax-free.
Tax-free, and guess what? You don't even ask your parents for anything. So I had a couple of kids go out there and do it for a little while, but they wanted some new sneakers and wanted this. But I said, you can make a living out of this. If the redemption guy is making money, if the guy's picking up the cans from the redemption guy's making money, if the guy's squeezing down the cans and wrapping around in a bale making money, that means the guy that's picking up the cans is making money. That depends what level it is.
That's right.
But now that's making money. That's starting a business.
Right.
So if you see the garbage guy out there, he's making money. Someone's making money out. This is a business.
Right.
So they say, okay. I said, well, suppose you don't want to do that. I said, what do you want to do? So what I did, I developed something around what they wanted to do. Some people want to sing, somebody wants to dance. So I said, this is the way how they make money within this particular industry. You just got to figure out a way how to do it with your, it's a niche,
skill.
with your skill.
Right.
Everyone's not going to become top of the mountain, but you can make a living out of it.
Right.
And this is basically when the Four Walls Project started. I never looked down on anybody what they want to do. Look how far we came with AccessTV.org.
That's right.
20 years ago, we didn't even know what's going to be at AccessTV.org.
Right.
Now look what AccessTV.org is now.
That's
one of the most powerful internet companies in the Hartford region.
That's right.
And I'm part of it. So it took this gentleman to think of something, even though he watched The Matrix. And every time I call him up, he doesn't watch The Matrix. I tease him every time with this.
Yeah.
But it's thinking out of the box.
Right.
Well, really, it's no box.
Right. Right. And I think what it is exactly critical thinking has to be
part of it.
A very important part of the whole piece of the puzzle here. And to know that yes, you can make money. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, you can have a job, but you have to make a concerted effort and become disciplined in saving that money. Do I want to have this? Yeah, I would love to have that. Mm-hmm. Do I want it today, or can I have it tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Well, we can still wait on that one. Save up your money. Then once you have it, now you can purchase whatever that you have inside here. But that's a discipline. And I think that's more than anything else inside is really becoming aware of that kind of discipline.
Exactly.
That it's not just, I want, gimme. That's not going to happen.
I tell the kids, don't look at, and I want to be careful with how I say this. You can't look at the Jews, you can't look at the Chinese, you can't look at the Indians. People come from different backgrounds.
Correct.
The thing about it is, they have a system that's been working for generations.
Absolutely.
Now, you have to know when to say, let me put $1 in the bank.
Well, I think of my friend Abdullah told me something that was very key.
Right.
And something that we have to really start hammering in, and I think that is that what is going to be your legacy? Mm-hmm. What will be your legacy for your family? What are you going to do for your family for when you have a family so that they will be financially secure for your kids, etc., all the way through? That's what they have to be, everyone has to become aware of.
I think the blessing is I don't have any kids, but I have kids in my program.
Absolutely.
When I come to Access, there's 2 small girls. I'd say they're my girls because I want them to be smarter than me.
Right.
So when they look at Samuel or Uncle Sam or Mr. Sam, whatever they want to call me, they can say, before I close my eyes, I was taught a certain principle and a certain formula how to get through. So guess what? If they get married, if they get divorced, I can keep my head above the fray.
Exactly.
And that's basically what it is. Things happen to people.
Right.
Is that, are they strong enough mentally to come out of it?
Right. Exactly. When they have that, there's going to be those bumps in the road,
Right.
whatever that we have.
Right.
But being able to do and to survive and to
Exactly.
get through that,
Right.
with the use of a good formula,
Right.
hey, I
Exactly.
can have that. Yes, I will have at least 3 months worth of savings put aside,
Right.
always. So in case there's something does happen, I'll be able to handle that and my family will be able to survive.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. When this thing starts and somebody comes to me and say, well, you know, Mr. Sam, financially I'm in trouble. I said, well, you got to call Professor Wilusz. He has all the answers. I have to push that over to the side. You know, we're just gonna push that.
I'm glad you have that much faith in me. I
You know,
appreciate that.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, people, you should see my phone ring all kinds of stuff. And they said, well, you know, Mr. Sam, where you live, the town, I'm not rich.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is they're looking for you as a teacher, as a professor, as someone, as an elder to say, you're supposed to know the answer.
Right.
And there's no something,
Right.
we're supposed to know the answer.
Exactly.
And not to let these kids down.
Exactly. And that we have to give them that avenue that here's the formula.
Right.
Now you take it.
Right.
And now you build on that one within your family itself. And I think that's that in a lot of ways, the educational system
Right.
has had its downslide
Right.
from all of this, is that, you know, well, a few are going to make it.
Right.
And a few are not. I don't care about those that are not going to be doing
right.
it. No, we should be worrying about those that are not going to have that. They should have that opportunity to really work with that themselves.
You know, we're out of time.
It goes by fast.
It goes that quick. I'm going to bring you back sometime in May.
Sounds good.
And we're going to have other things talking about the Four Walls Project and other things that you're doing.
Good.
But every time we start, we're always running out of time. Thanks for tuning in to Education One this week. As I say every Tuesday, if it's Tuesday, it's Education One. I'll see you on the internet. God bless. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
At Hartford Public Schools, we care about one thing above all, the future of our kids. That's why we're dedicated to providing all students with the knowledge and skills needed in the new global culture. Hartford Public Schools is thriving. More student success stories, more world-class facilities, more university and corporate partnerships, more amazing talent coming and staying in Hartford. This is how education is supposed to work. Welcome to Hartford Public Schools, where the future is present.